Good day and welcome to my channel. My name is Wendy Collier. If this is your first time, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe so that you can see when I create new videos. So today we are going to revisit the topic of remaining friends with the narcissist. Now, what I want to do in this particular video is I want to address why the narcissist is not qualified as being our friend. So, of course, we like to start out with the scripture, and I'm going to come from Proverbs 27:9, which reads, "A sweet friendship refreshes the soul." Okay, so now the question is, when you were in the relationship with the narcissist, was your soul refreshed? And the answer to that, I'll answer it for you. The answer to that is absolutely not, because the narcissist's goal is to destroy your soul. Okay? So right then and there, the word is identifying that the narcissist is not even qualified to be a friend, because a sweet friendship refreshes the soul. So if it refreshes the soul, it can't refresh the soul and tear down and destroy the soul at the same time. One or the other. So a friendship refreshes the soul. Now, what I want to do is, I have a list. I actually have a blog. I've realized that I've not mentioned that in times past, but I have a blog. And this is what I'm going to go over today is from an article that I did on my blog, where I did a list of the behavior of the narcissist so that we could compare it to whether or not their behavior and their actions qualified them as being a friend. So let's first go over what a friend is, okay? So a friend is someone who you have a bond with, right? And you have a genuine and a mutual affection for one another. A friend is someone who's in your corner. You can count on a friend, right? A friend is not trying to hurt or harm you, right? They're genuinely sharing with you expressions of love and doing things to help you be the best person that you can be, right? So a friend is someone who's concerned about your well-being, and they're concerned about you overall as an individual, right? That's what a friend is, right? So here's the thing about the narcissist. Why the narcissist is so effective in deceiving us is because of their skill set and their ability to create an illusion of a thing, right? So whether they're creating the illusion of a relationship, the illusion of being in love, the illusion of being in your corner, wanting the best for you, or the illusion of being a friend, the bottom line is their ability to be successful is based on their ability to create the illusion. That's all they do. They create an illusion of what it is they want you to see them as, or what they want to portray, right? They just create the illusion. So what I want to do, let me pull this up on my phone. What I want to do is I want to go over the list, all right? I'm going to go over a list of what actually happened in the relationship so that we can identify what it is that's making us actually go through this, right, in the relationship, and then come out believing that the narcissist is qualified to be our friend. And I'm going to identify what that is. But let's go over this list first, right? Okay. So the first thing the narcissist did was they isolated you from family and friends, completely destroying your support system. Okay. So basically, the friends that you had prior to going into the relationship with the narc, they destroyed that, even without you knowing it, right? They secretly and silently isolated you from these people, because these are the people that would have been able to say, uh-oh, hold up, something is not quite right. So the narcissist knows that they have to get these people out of your immediate circle. So that's what they do. They come in, they hold these long conversations with you, and you're thinking that they're interested in you, but they're identifying who it is in your life that they have to remove, right? So the next one, the narcissist love bomb you to make you fall in love with them, and they pretended they were in love with you, and they professed their love quickly, right? So generally, the narcissist will profess their love within the first 30 days. They get this great epiphany. I don't even know if I've ever been in love before, because I've never experienced, what I'm feeling with you, right? It's the whole love bombing, right? You're thinking that you met somebody that's just head over heels falling for you, and they just act like you are just the best thing, right? Lying. They just completely lying. And I'm not saying that you're not the best thing, because you are, because that's why they targeted you. But this is not a video on that. I'm saying they were lying about their true feelings, right? They're, again, creating the illusion of falling in love with you, right? All right, so the narcissist conversed with you for hours, pretending to be interested in you, but was probing to learn areas of your weakness in order to destroy you. So this is where, you and the narcissist spent hours. When you think back, you'd be like, whoa, we spent hours. It could have been in person. It could have been on the phone. But just hours and hours and hours, and they told you all these different stories about different areas of their life, and shared stories with you that made them appear to be vulnerable. And you thinking, oh, wow, I got something here. He would share something with me like that so fast. So basically, it's all a skill set to cause you to come back in return and to share with the narcissist, right? So once you start opening up, you're sharing about your childhood, sharing, right? So now what the narcissist is doing is they keying in, and they're saying, okay, and they're looking for the areas in your life for your weaknesses. So those, basically, they're putting together their plot and their plan to destroy you, right? So that's what all those long conversations were about. The narcissist devalued and humiliated you, right? So in some way, shape, or form, the narcissist devalued you and humiliated you, right? So those are areas that you would know what your particular or your individual story behind that is, right? So the narcissist triangulated you when they brought the other person into the situation by telling you it was an ex that wouldn't leave them alone, or a crazy ex, right? But in fact, what the narcissist did is they orchestrated the whole thing. They were telling you one thing. They were telling the person that appeared to be the ex, but it really wasn't the ex. It was somebody else that they were messing with, right? So they're telling them something about you, like, I can't get rid of this person, they that, and they're telling you what they want you to know about them. Basically, in triangulation, they create what's called a false sense of competition between two individuals. And then the narcissist will actually orchestrate where the two of you end up at the same place at the same time, so that a big conflict that can flare up. And then the narcissist is sitting there like, oh, I'm so good, I'm worth fighting over. All of that stuff was orchestrated by the narcissist, okay? So the narcissist gaslighted you by doing and saying things to make you question your sanity. And when you confronted them, the narcissist said, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. You're crazy, right? That's called gaslighting. The narcissist did something. They did it because you saw them freaking do it. Like, you saw them do it. But then when you confront the narcissist, they look at you like with a straight face and straight up tell you, that didn't happen. And they do it, they're so good at it that it makes you begin to question, well, like, what the heck? Did it happen? You know, but that's a form of gaslighting, right? That is psychological warfare at its best, right? So the narcissist gaslighted you. The narcissist destroyed what self-esteem you had. So you felt a certain way when you went into the relationship. When you came out, your self-esteem was just completely destroyed, because that's an area that the narcissist targets, right? They don't want you to have any self-esteem, right? So they destroy that. They destroy that area in your life, right? The narcissist lied to you. That's self-explanatory. The narcissist cheated on you. That's self-explanatory. The narcissist didn't take responsibility for their actions, but blamed and guilted you for their actions, right? So just to give an example, you know, the narcissist will provoke you. They're gaslighting you. They're doing this. They're coming at you, boom, 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 from every angle. And then when you finally get to a point where you're like, hey, right, and you start fighting back, then that's when the narcissist, you know, oh, you did X, Y, Z. Oh, you turned around and you did, and they start blaming you. Never mind all of the torment and all of the things that they took you through to bring you to that level. Never mind all of that. They'll just focus on and hone in on your reaction to them and start guilting you, making you feel bad about it. So then you find yourself, you carrying all this guilt, and it's not guilt for you to be carrying, you know? So that's another trick of the narcissist, right? And the final one I have here, it's not the final manner in the things that the narc does, but the final one on my list. The narcissist abruptly ended the relationship, throwing you away like trash. So that's the great discard that the narcissist does. You know, like one day y'all having a ball, y'all doing X, Y, Z, and then all of a sudden the next day, you know, the narcissist is like, you know, this is not working. We're going to have to end this for whatever reason, right? That's called the discard. It's to make you feel like trash because they're throwing you away as trash, right? So here's the thing. My question is, in that list that I have just posed to you, what about that list qualifies the narcissist to now be your friend? There's nothing on that list that says, yes, this is someone who has my best interest at heart, and this is someone that I can now be a friend with. The reason that we go from such horrific behavior with the narcissist and then find ourselves, after we come out of that, we open the door to remain friends, is simply this: boundaries. It's because we do not have boundaries in place. And this right here, this key fact was such an eye-opener for me. Oh my goodness, it was such an eye-opener because I didn't have any boundaries set. And basically, I didn't have boundaries in my life set because no one taught me about boundaries. Like, that wasn't, I never heard about no boundaries and how you have to have boundaries set in your life, but you do. You have to have boundaries set. So the reason the narcissist came into your life and was able to just wreak all kinds of havoc in your life and chaos and, you know, do this and do that and create all type of just chaos, confusion, dysfunction, just have a field day, was because there were no boundaries. So basically what you want to do is you want to go back to the drawing board and you want to create some boundaries. So if you now want to enter into a relationship where, you know, the relationship is not rushed in the beginning, then you create a boundary. Right? Now, a narcissist has to rush everything because they have to get you to fall in love with them before their mask falls, before their truth is revealed. So even creating this one boundary will protect you from being in that particular situation. But then you want to create other boundaries. If you don't want chaos and you don't want confusion, what you do is you start creating boundaries, right? You want to create healthy boundaries. And when you create, now, first of all, the first thing you want to do is you want to give yourself permission to create these boundaries. And then once you create the boundaries, you stick to it. The boundaries are there to protect you from entering into relationships with emotional con artists. You want to create healthy boundaries. And once you do that, you'll find that you won't fall prey to these type of individuals anymore. But that is the reason why we go from a horrific relationship with the narcissist to being willing to be friends with them, because we don't understand that we have the right. This is our life. We have the right to create and stick with boundaries in our lives. And by doing so, you will protect yourself from creeps such as the narcissist. If I've said anything that has helped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Be blessed.